Peter Stewart?
Here.
Paul Bissonnette?
Here.
Jim Morrison?
Yeah.
Mark Eastman here. Animal shelter policy. You gonna speak to that?
Well, we've got, Public Safety Director Gagan is here, and our ACO is here. Our policy, our regulations, which is not an ordinance, but it's the policy that we use for the operation of our shelter, were not current in the way that the shelter was operated, and they hadn't been updated in many years. Is that correct, Director Gagan?
Correct. Long time.
And so, Director Gagan, Deputy Chief Winchester, ACO Moore, Luke, me, we've had a number of meetings to go over the changes that updated it to a more current operation, and that's the language that you see in the draft that's here, and it makes our rules consistent with our operation and clearly defines ways that it can operate in terms of things like a surrender or otherwise that require certain, to meet certain conditions before it can happen. We don't just take every ugly dog that's ever walked down Main Street and as a surrender, just saying. But, so that's, this update is the result of a good deal of effort by Luke and Allison, Matt, and Deputy Chief Winchester and Public Safety Director Gagan, ACO Moore and I met, and we've, I think, come up with what I think is an updated and good set of regulations. Chief, did you have any comment on this otherwise?
I do not. It was just a matter of catching up. The changes over the years that never really made the table.
So, just to make sure that I'm not missing anything important, there's like some language changes. It seems like the biggest language change doesn't limit us to using the Bucksport Veterinary Clinic. And then there's an update to fees. Otherwise, there's nothing, I mean, there's some minor language changes, but I'm not seeing anything besides those two things.
Correct. And we do use the Bucksport Vet Center for majority, but there are times.
But it's not limiting us. The language seemed to before limit us to that. Yep, okay.
I have a question about and just for my own knowledge, surrender fees, that's when somebody has an animal, they bring it in, they can't take care of it anymore, and they give it to the shelter, and they pay to give it to the shelter?
That's correct.
Okay. And did we not have a surrender fee last time?
We didn't have a written surrender policy.
Yep.
We had stuff that got done by, somebody was trying to get rid of something and somebody wanted something and this coordinated, but there wasn't a process that actually brought it through the shelter in a way that would allow the town to recoup the costs that it had in this intermediary space. And it also wasn't written or specific in terms of what the rules were for that kind of a thing, so.
So if I had a litter of puppies that I couldn't take care of, and I wanted to get rid of them, and I brought 4 dogs in, it'd be $400?
I think, I would hope that I could do it case by case,
Okay.
in general, I think it
Yep.
would be case by case,
Okay.
cause you wanna help, but you also wanna make sure that you're not sinking under all of that too.
Yep.
But we gotta be careful, because
Yeah.
if we're setting up these rules and we don't abide by those, and we're picking, and we're allowing somebody to pick and choose, and we have written down rules,
Yeah.
we're setting ourselves up for issues. So if we're gonna say that we are gonna charge $100 per animal, then we need to
I
charge
think
it.
what she's saying is that if you have a litter of puppies, you're responsible for them. We're not
Yep.
taking those puppies, but
Yep.
she works with a number of agencies outside. So So she could have 4 people wanting puppies, do the adoptions and stuff, but the charge, they never make the door of the shelter.
Okay,
Oh,
Okay.
And
If
that's
they
happening
come
now.
in-house,
yeah.
Okay.
there's a fee.
All right.
They
Okay.
come through the
I'm just,
door.
what I heard was that I can decide if I don't wanna charge or something, and I don't think we
No,
should
we
be doing that.
discussed that. If they come through the door, there's a charge.
Okay.
If we become responsible for them and have to
There's a
pay
charge.
vet bills and spay and neuter,
Yep,
yeah.
I think we have an obligation to protect the town
yep.
from those fees.
Right.
So semantics here, and I'm just asking. This is under the Bucksport Police Department.
That's correct.
The town council does not look at all of your policies and procedures that you have operating in-house.
No.
So,
But this is a town
The-
policy.
well, that's what I'm saying. Should this rest someplace else beside, and I'm asking the.
Certainly can, we have plenty of place to put it.
Well, I mean,
No, I know what you're saying.
if we're setting up rules that, yeah, they fall under your purview as the public safety director, but we're initiating fees and those type of things that we set up, whether, yeah, I mean, we set the parking tickets, don't we, or do you?
Right.
You know,
But that's a town,
correct, and that's what this is.
that's what, yeah, it's kind of a town aspect, yes.
And I'm just wondering if there is someplace else, and I'm asking the question.
It
I
is
can
cer-
certainly put it in the town code, it's all typed up and formatted in the same.
Yeah, I mean,
way.
to me, I would feel more comfortable if that's where it was, that way, when we're discussing changes, it just seems cleaner, it takes it out of his hands.
If we're gonna do that, we have to have public hearings.
Sure, and I got no problem with that, I think when you read down through this, I think there's things that should be looked at, so, I mean, when I was going down through this and I saw the title, and I'm like, I'm not, you know, I know you can have, but I just don't know if that was the place it should live.
Well, and it's true, it's always been a town aspect, but it's always fallen under the umbrella of the police department, which maybe.
As far as managing and things like that, but I
Right.
think the rules that you manage under should fall under an
The
ordinance or
rules
something.
Could go to that, that's a good point.
so we could,
So,
Luke could do that.
so up to now, the fees that have been set are flexible?
No,
That
those
we're not-
fees are in the fee schedule, other than the changes that are in front of you, which is like the. what
Adoption
is it?
fee.
No, the adoption fees were a little high, we've been charging higher than what the fee schedule said, so I
Yeah.
updated that.
Yeah, the fee schedule is all included into the fee schedule under the ordinances.
Yeah,
And these things are gonna go
And
into
and
this
this was,
fee schedule?
and this was embedded in this policy here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, that's just my thought, I think I'm it fine seems
with that.
cleaner if it's,
Otherwise, why are we making the decision?
I think you're right, we certainly don't want the police department setting fee schedules and all that stuff. I mean, the rules should be under the town and managed by the public safety department, I guess.
like we do with most everything else that involves, the transfer station, for example. I mean, they operate it,
Right.
but the rules fall under our ordinances, don't they?
yep,
Yeah.
that's a really good point, Peter, that we can, for the
Can this
next
be the first
meeting.
reading?
Hmm?
Can this be the first reading?
It can be the first reading, the only thing that would change would be the numbers on it,
Yeah.
and then you could have a public hearing at the next council meeting to,
My
Go
only
through the whole
only
thing.
concern is that we'd have to add it to the regular council agenda as a first reading.
it's already there.
Oh,
As a first reading?
No, I'm sorry,
Yeah, I
it's
didn't
not
think,
that.
it's just a change to the fee schedule.
And I've got animal shelter rules and regulations,
Update.
is C, but
Yeah.
that's an update because it wasn't,
Right,
it
right.
didn't fall under the town
Right,
code,
right.
which wasn't. So it'll have to be another meeting before it has to, it can, that's all.
And-
two weeks.
So we'll save the fee schedule for that as well, should we move on from?
No, there's other things on the fee schedule.
Okay, okay. Yeah, there are other fees that actually fall under the fee schedule piece. Okay.
So is it consensus of this group to move this into the town code and have the first reading at the next meeting under the appropriate town code place?
Yes.
Did you hear that, Lou?
I heard.
Thank you.
Okay, so item 4 would be fee schedule changes.
So, that one, I think, the only thing on, the fee schedule, changes for the animal shelter, which we can do tonight. Because those were already in the fee schedule, I just updated them. The only one I added was the surrender fee, which I don't know if you want me to take that out until we pass the ordinance, or I don't know how you handle that, but,
Cause that is a brand new fee.
that one is a new fee.
Yeah.
The other ones were just
I'd
updated.
be comfortable taking it out until we discuss it
Yep.
totally in the.
Yep, I'm fine with that.
Okay. The other fee that's on there is,
Oh, the solar.
the solar. We don't have a fee for how to issue a building permit for that. So we have one now that's been approved. They don't have a building permit yet. And typically we do building permits based on square footage of a structure. And so what I've looked at is how other towns have done this. I've talked with other code officers, and most of them charge, there's different ways, but the most easy way of doing it is charging by the megawatt that they're producing. $500 per megawatt as a one-time fee. Some towns do an annual fee. I don't think that's fair. I think it's a building permit. You don't pay an annual fee with any other building permit, so I think $500 per megawatt would mean that the Amoresco with a 5 megawatt would be $2,500. So that's what I proposed.
I mean, if that's what you're seeing in other towns, that seems reasonable.
Some are way higher than that, but I think that's, I don't know.
Yep.
That's a money grab. I guess it is in any way you look at it, so it's what you guys are comfortable with, but that's what I recommended.
Yep. Any other thoughts?
Everyone okay with that?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Is there one other? Oh, yeah, the zoning.
Yep. Item 5, proposed zoning change of map 32, lot 117, 118, 121, 122, and 126 from the village to the downtown.
So,
Wizardry.
He's gonna tell us the weather next.
Yeah.
And if you look over here.
It's not gonna be better.
so,
Did you look at that? He's gonna tell
so last time we updated the zoning, we changed, this property here and these 4 here, all to, downtown. And right after we did that, we had requests from Dick Peterson and, from a developer to,
You're in the wrong area.
am I?
Yeah, Buckley is where Dick Peterson is, down from there. Where your
Oh.
52 Elm is.
There you go.
Sorry,
That's okay.
these ones.
Yep.
So the Woodard House is for sale, and the church is it's not listed for sale, but it's for sale. So the idea was that this whole block could be done something that would, potentially want that downtown zoning. And then, Dick Peterson, who lives here, has built a giant addition, which picture's not showing up, but there's a big addition there. And he wanted to be in the downtown zoning. So what the planning board looked at was basically taking this property line and just coming, straight across. So it comes over and it does cut that one out. But we tried to make it a straight line as much as we could across there and, proposed making that part of the downtown.
But this all started with the Masonic lot, though.
Well, that was this other, the council already approved that.
Okay.
Those, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those 5 have already been changed. So this would go back one more row. And the planning board approved it, but I was supposed to bring it to the council, and then I was on vacation, and then I was sick, and so here we are.
So you're adding just Dick Peterson's at that line?
This row would get the Woodard House, the yellow one that used to be the Daigles, and then it was the Woodards. And Peterson, this other one that's on Buckley, I'm not sure who owns that, and this 117 and 118.
Yep.
So it would basically make that like a block.
Okay.
And then Mark Neslucen, didn't care. He said he'd stay in village, so we.
So does that split his lot in half then?
It does. We've got a lot of properties that are half shoreland, half
There are.
whatever, so, we could do it either way. I thought a straight line made the most sense, but if you guys wanted to do the whole lot instead,
I mean, does he care?
he does not care.
And we just leave it the way it is, and if somebody wants to come forward down the road. Do we need to vote on this, Sue?
You don't really need to vote, but if it's the consensus to move this, the first reading of it is on tonight's agenda unless someone has an objection.
No objection?
No objection.
That's it for me.
All right, thanks, Luke. Item 6, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Meeting adjourned?